Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church in Columbia, South Carolina, where we're part of the ELCA. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. You may never have heard of Bill Oberst, but I know him. He's an actor living in Los Angeles, and while I wouldn't say he's particularly famous, he's been in at least 65 movies and 10 television shows. The thing is, Bill was born in Georgetown, here in South Carolina, and was reared in Pawleys Island. As he was beginning his career, he developed one-man shows where he would portray Jesus of Nazareth. And since I was serving a church on the south end of Myrtle Beach near Pawleys Island, he came to my church and presented the show. One thing he prearranged with me was that at some point, as he portrayed Jesus, he would take my hand, bring me forward, and then wash my feet. It was quite an unusual experience to have a person in character and costume looking like our image of Jesus washing your feet. It's humbling to sit there while this is done for you. It's tender, and you feel unworthy. This week we are spending our time together looking at some of the traits of Jesus, and that foot washing points to one of them, that Jesus was a humble servant. The story of the foot washing at the Last Supper is intriguing. In John 13 we read, "Now before the festival of the Passover, Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart from this world and to go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end." The devil had already decided that Judas, son of Simon Iscariot, would betray Jesus. And during supper, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands and that he had come from God and was going to God, got up from supper, took off his outer robe and tied a towel around himself. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was tied around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus answered, "You do not know now what I am doing, but later you will understand." Peter said to him, "You will never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no share with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head." Jesus said to him, "One who has bathed does not need to wash except for the feet, but is entirely clean. And you are clean, though not all of you." For he knew who was to betray him. For this reason he said, "Not all of you are clean." After he had washed their feet, had put on his robe, and had reclined again, he said to them, "Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for that is what I am. So if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have set you an example, that you also should do as I have done to you." Now I understand Peter's reaction. When Bill Oberst, as Jesus, was washing my feet, I wanted to protest too. Still, that line about Jesus removing his robe and tying a towel around himself and tenderly washing his disciples' feet is such a profound image. Jesus is God's Son, full of honor and glory, and he set that aside in humility and then comes to us as one who serves. If Jesus does that, the call to us is clear. We are to serve too. The other thing about this story that is so striking, and the way the gospel is written, there's no doubt about this, Judas was there. Jesus washed Judas's feet. Jesus knew Judas would betray him, and still Jesus washed Judas's feet in love and service. Might that say something to us about our call to reach out to help and serve those we might consider our enemies? For example, could you humble yourself so much to recognize Osama bin Laden as a fellow child of God and wash his feet? We may not be Judas's or even Osama bin Laden's. But the truth is we all betray Jesus in one way or another. And still Jesus humbles himself and serves us. What does it mean to be humble? It doesn't mean meek and mild. I love the definition I saw recently that said humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. The implication is that we are thinking of others more. It means that we realize that others, no matter what they have done, are no different from us. We are both children of God in need of love and grace, called to live love and grace for each other. Perhaps we should pay more attention to what Paul says in Philippians. Scholars believe that for part of Philippians 2, Paul borrowed the text of an early Christian hymn and inserted it into his letter. The Philippians would have recognized this part and would have been familiar, and this hymn would have been familiar to them. Paul writes, "Let the same mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus, who, though he existed in the form of God, did not regard equality with God as something to be grasped, but emptied himself, taking the form of a slave, assuming human likeness. And being found in appearance as a human, he humbled himself and became obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross." Ponder that mystery in awe. Jesus didn't claim and hold on to equality with God. He had all the glory of heaven going his way and gave all that up for us. I love how the text says, he emptied himself. Back to the definition of humility. It's not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. Jesus' love for us was so great that he emptied himself of all that splendor, becoming one of us, and humbling himself, submitting to the cross, humbling himself even to death for us. Maybe we can aspire to be humble like this. Let's think of others more than ourselves. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.